What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now today I'm behind the wheel of a 2000 Volkswagen Jetta VR6. Now what I found interesting about this car is that the VR6 is slowly becoming an extinct engine, and especially for this car that's over 20 years old, I was just curious if it's still good in 2021. And for those that don't know, the VR6 is definitely a legendary engine out there, and I would say that it's probably one of the best sounding naturally aspirated 6-cylinders that you can buy today for very affordable prices. I mean, you can find these things for, you know, a dime a dozen. Which is pretty cool. So with that being said, what I wanted to do today is just go over the exterior and the interior, as well as go over the driving experience. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for more if you're looking for more car content just like this. I also stream on Twitch weekly. If you want to check that out, I'll make sure to link that all down below. But with that being said, let's take this thing out on the road and see how it drives. All right, so when you set off in this Jetta VR6, what's so pleasantly surprising is the amount of torque this thing has. Why does this car have so much torque? And I think I can answer that for you, and it's due to the fact of the engine's design, which is extremely unique. And, you know, especially for the hardcore VW enthusiasts out there that really love this engine configuration. The VR6, you can almost think of the VR as the vertical row, right? Where in a traditional V6 engine, typically there's 2 cylinder banks and they're at about a 90-degree angle from each other. But in this engine, there's only 1 cylinder bank and it's about a 15-degree V. So it's almost like they're vertically standing up. In the design of the piston is really interesting. They're not flat like other pistons that you would see in a traditional internal combustion V6 engine. And what you get in return is a much more compact V6 that makes a very distinct noise that packs quite a little bit of a punch. But the drawbacks to that is it makes the engine complexities very unique. So in terms of like the maintenance costs and things like that, it's probably going to be a lot more than a more traditional 6-cylinder engine. But I mean, you kind of know you're getting into that when buying a Volkswagen anyway. And you know, if you're willing to put up with the maintenance costs and things of that sort, this car is really engaging to drive. Like, I am pleasantly surprised at how well it's held up after almost 20 years of wear and tear. Like, even right now, I'm gonna take this little left hairpin and I'm really gonna load up the steering. It's a little dead on center, but once you load it up, it takes the corners with ease. And it inspires a lot of confidence too. Especially with, you know, a good set of rubber like this car has. It really makes a difference in the driving experience. And unfortunately, these cars aren't all-wheel drive, but even with the front-wheel drive configuration, there's a lot of potential to do a lot with this. I mean, you could drive this every day, you could drive this in the snow, no problem. But, you know, for the enthusiasts out there, that's definitely a drawback for, you know, some people that don't want a front-wheel drive car. But at the same time, do you really want to shell all the cash out for a R32 Golf? Because, I mean, you're probably going to be paying almost triple or quadruple what you would pay for this car. Yet you still get a great transmission, great engine that sounds fantastic. God, it is fun. Now, I will say the transmission row is a little bit longer than I would like. I feel like maybe like an upgraded little short shifter would really spruce things up in terms of just like the driving experience thing, like changing through all the gears and stuff. But the good news is the inputs are very easy to learn. The clutch is pretty light. It catches up top, you know, almost kind of like I don't want to say like a pickup truck, but that's just what's kind of coming to my mind right now. It kind of reminds me of like the catch point of a clutch on a pickup truck. So it's very easy. You could just dump the clutch. This could be for somebody that's trying to learn how to drive a manual transmission. This could be a good car for that. And it's not too tiresome either. It doesn't feel like if you were stuck in traffic all day long that you would be really sick of driving this manual. And since you really fly under the radar with this car, you know, nobody's really gonna bat an eye or look at you. You know, that could be a pro or a con depending on who you're talking to. But, you know, for me, if you just wanted something you wanted to drive every day, you don't want to have like people gawking at your car or like constantly looking at you, and you just want to be like a little bit, in the incognito mode, this is the car. I'm telling you, man. Especially for somebody that likes, you know, the German side of things, this could be a great option for somebody. And of course, like I said, with the maintenance costs, it is going to be a little bit more. And I think with the VR6 engines, it's a timing chain instead of a timing belt, which is interesting. So, you know, a little bit of peace of mind there. But in my opinion, it's going to cost a lot for you to keep up with it if you're not mechanically inclined. And these cars are also known for having their electrical gremlins. You know, I'm not trying to create a stereotype around all VWs, but from the ones that I've worked on and the ones that I've seen, it's pretty common to see the check engine light come on these cars. I mean, anything, even just from like a tire pressure monitor sensor going out, could leave your check engine light on for months, driving you nuts, because it'll just be this little light on your dash just kind of reminding you that, oh, you know, there's something broken, and I'm not really going to tell you what it is, but you'll figure it out. Good luck. Now, when looking at the exterior of this car, it's going to be a very familiar looking, you know, design has been around for almost 20 years now, and I'm sure that you've seen this somewhere, most likely in a college parking lot, to say the least. The only real difference that you're going to see in between, you know, just like a base model 1.8T Jetta and a VR6 is either going to be in the differences in the alloy wheels that you get with it, depending on which trim level that you get. But the most distinct difference is honestly just going to be the badge difference, where it says VR6 on the back on the trunk. Everything else, though, is pretty much the exact same as any old, mundane looking Jetta that you'd see on the road today. Not to say that that's a bad thing, though. I think there's kind of like a pleasantness in the way that it's so mundane that you can really fly under the radar and almost consider this car kind of like a sleeper. There's little nicks and marks here and there, but for the most part, it's in really good shape. Now we're getting inside the interior of the car. This door's kind of squeaky. You're immediately greeted with a black leather interior, which is pretty nice for the most part. These seats aren't the most comfortable seats in the world. I think a pretty common swap that a lot of people do, especially with the enthusiasts, is they go for the GLI seats, and those are like the fancy Recaros, and I'm pretty sure that that's a straight bolt-on swap that you could do with the seats. Speedometer is very legible. Everything makes sense. It's got an aftermarket stereo in it, which is nice. But, I mean, that's all really in the details, honestly. If you were going to ask me if I wanted to drive one of these, sure, I wouldn't mind, but it definitely wouldn't be my first choice. You know, nothing against this car, but I think for somebody out there that's looking for something a little more exciting than just like a mundane sedan, you want something German, a little bit different, I think this is a great option. And honestly, I think this car is pretty underrated for what it is. For most VWs that I've seen and that I've driven, I think this one, it's definitely up there. It's really fun. It's very engaging. And I would even be more curious to drive a VR6 swapped older Volkswagen, because that's a very common thing that a lot of people do. And I think that idea is awesome. Like, for anybody that goes out there and does that, there's a lot of potential. But, you know, that would mean that this car would end up being the donor car, which would be kind of sad. You know, it's definitely not up there with the GLI and the R32s and things like that. I mean, that's like your cream of the crop, like S-tier Volkswagens, right? But for this one, middle of the road, budget-friendly car that it's a little bit tunable, yeah, I think this is a win. I like this one. But with that being said, I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. Hope you guys have a great day. Make sure to subscribe for more if you want to see more car videos like this. And thanks for watching. So, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.